Yeah, I actually don't know where it's starting, if I'm being totally honest. I'm not the hockey guy, but so I won't be talking too much about that other than it getting started in a city between the two that we will find out. Connor, apologies that you can't hear me. I'm sure it may have gotten ironed out by now. Please let me know in a second here. I hope it got ironed out there, but uh, looks good. Looks good on my side. You might have been right. It sounded like I might have had some technical difficulties. I don't know if I double tapped the. No, I think you were right, Connor. I think I double tapped the intro music for some whatever reason on accident. But we are riding and rolling. So thank you for stopping by, my friend. Thank you for the heads up, the fix there. So hopefully we are good and going now. So no, I please, I'm happy anytime you interrupt like that because I have to imagine it's not on your side. My computer is a little spotty, so sometimes it does glitch a little bit. So, think it might have just taken an extra 30 seconds there. So, definitely do not hesitate to say do that again in the future. So, as I mentioned, last night's game, Denver and Miami, 11-point win for Denver, way under the 218.5 closing number there, with a 197 there. So way under. Total probably going to go down a little bit going into Sunday night's game. We get 2 days off here for the NBA. Actually, as far as looking at 214.5 right now. So maybe interested in one way or another on that one. Back again at 8.5. I mean, obviously the Heat. Anyone that had the Heat, obviously a little salty. It was an 11-point game with 30 plus seconds to go, so he did have an opportunity for a backdoor there, but didn't get it. It would have been unlikely. Nuggets would have, or Heat would have had to play some defense too. But nonetheless, I don't know what to expect out of the rest of this. If I'm Miami, I feel like I need to win game 2. But the defense, obviously Jokic and Murray got their numbers, but I mean, holding the Nuggets to 104 at home is not something that's been done a lot this postseason. So to miss the opportunity to, Bam Adebayo was fine. I think Gabe Vincent was solid and shot well. But when you have too many players kind of showing up as ghosts last night's game, and obviously Jimmy Butler wasn't very good. So if you're Miami, you need some more consistent offense. You need more contribution from that collection of Vincent, Strus, Martin, Duncan Robinson, and I'm probably forgetting somebody else, but you need contributions from a couple of those guys or, solid across the board, which it obviously wasn't last night outside of, I think it was Gabe Vincent, not Max Strus. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there, but nonetheless, if I'm, obviously Miami has some resiliency, has some fire in them, and can fire back and tie this series up. If I'm them, or a Heat fan, I would be worried. I'm not saying it's going to happen. We'll see what we're feeling on Sunday, but the worry on my end would be that Denver has an incredible offensive performance from top to bottom from their team under their belt at home, like we've seen all postseason long. So, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that would be a concern of mine if I was a Miami Heat fan. You'd need another defensive performance similar like you had last night. You just need some more offense. So, still, I obviously it's tough to say it's a must-win, but even going if they're able to take 2 at home if they lose game 2 here, even going 2-2, you still don't have home court advantage. So almost a must-win game on Sunday night. Kind of how they did, in the Milwaukee. I don't remember exactly how it shook out, but you had to make a statement on the road to open that up, and then they were able to take 2 in Miami, if I'm not mistaken. So I would be shocked if they went up 3-1 like they did in that series. But my point is to give themselves a chance. Feels like they got to go and tie this thing up here in game 2. So we will see what happens on Sunday night. Moving on to, as I mentioned, NHL tomorrow. I'm not a hockey guy. It is in Vegas tomorrow. So and that tells you how much of a hockey guy I am. I will probably have some popcorn action on it, but that is all. Vegas minus 130 on game 1 money line, I believe, as I'm seeing it right now for tomorrow night. So should be the main event of the evening. As far as the sports world is concerned on Saturday, unless I'm drawing a blank on something else. But nonetheless, moving into today's MLB slate, we've got a full one. We've got some interesting lines, some interesting matchups. Let me try and pull up my notes in a timely fashion here. But nonetheless, as we always say, don't be the pizza man tonight. It is Friday night. Jeff Dawson always that has the lesson, the sermon laid out better than I do, but It is, Fade the Public Friday, as we've talked about throughout the entire year. Typically, does it happen 100% of the time in every single game every Friday? No, but it is payday, and you have a lot of people that are rushing to the window trying to gamble on a lot of things. And in tonight's case, baseball is the main show in town, and there's plenty of options for it. So you have to tread lightly. You have to take things carefully. If something seems a little too good to be true, it probably is, especially in your, big brand teams or bigger brand name pitchers, that type of stuff. Does that necessarily ring true for I'm trying to figure out a random matchup off the top of my head, even a White Sox-Detroit game? Maybe we'll see when we get there, but maybe that's an outlier for a public game. But as opposed to that, compared to that, when you bring up, some of these other names that we'll bring up, like Tampa Bay and Boston with the pitchers they've got tonight, it becomes a bigger sermon and bigger thing to talk about. So breaking down tonight's slate, actually, I believe any minute right now, we've got the Brewers and the Reds getting started with Corbin Burnes on the mound. And Williamson, drawing a blank on his first name, but Corbin Burnes has obviously been actually not as good as you would expect, but last time out was very good. 4 hits, 1 earned, 8 Ks last time out. So he has potentially getting into form here. Williamson, start number 4 for him. He has not been great. But begs you the question, why is this line as even minus 165? You can't get the Brewers at plus money. So with the total at 10, I'm kind of throwing my hands up on this one. I don't want to say I'm leaning to the Reds, but this is one where I'm kind of saying, kind of pump the brakes on the Brewers a little bit. This doesn't feel like a slam dunk for the Brewers. They're giving you a 165 price, which seems kind of late for Burnes up against Williamson, but then they're not giving you even plus money on the minus 1.5. And as tricky as it is to swallow a pill with the Reds and Williamson here, and I'm not saying to go ahead and do that, but it does feel a little funky here. So I am backing off completely, especially with this one being a little bit early. I would suggest you do the same. I don't think it's as simple as Corbin Burnes dominating and the Brewers win 6-1 or anything like that. I don't think the total would be 10 if that's the case here. So I could see Williamson being a little bit better and maybe Burnes regressing back to what he's been a handful of times this year, which is 3-4 earned runs at a time. So I'm going to just back away from that one all completely. Next one, 5:40 my time, 6:40 East Coast time, Oakland and Miami. Fujinami and Edwin Cabrera. Let me double. Is it Edwin? Is it Eduardo or Edwin? Now I need to know for sure because it is Edward Cabrera. I like Edward Cabrera, so that's why I had to double check that one. Fujinami for the A. Obviously, the A's has been a case of its own. Fujinami has largely been out of the bullpen, so I actually don't know if this is just a full bullpen start, if he's going to go more than a couple innings here. For the most part, he's only gone 1-2 innings at a time. So from the A side of things, tough to call what you're going to see from there. Cabrera, in his case, he's close to really putting it all together, but just can't limit his walks right now. He's top 10. I think he's a few innings away from qualifying, but I think he's got 52 innings pitched. With the sites that I was looking at, you need 55, 57 innings pitched or an inning per your team's game. He's not quite there. If he was qualifying, he would be top 10 in K, strikeouts per 9, and top 20 in hits allowed per 9. His hits that he's allowed is really low, but still allowing at least 3 walks in just about every single game or more. Sometimes a little sporadic. Had a couple starts with 0 or 1, then he bounces back with 4 walks. So the control is an issue for him. When he's on, he's got some really, really good stuff. And honestly, after a couple losses to the Mets to open up the season, they are 6-3 with him on the mound. I don't think his record's quite that good. He's 3-4, but after those first 2 losses to the Mets, they are 6-3 when he takes the mound. So he's been effective here for the last few weeks. I know his ERA is 5, but he's got a couple starts where he's getting yanked pretty soon there. So I like him better than most people would here. Maybe not in this spot, but just in general, kind of just giving you a rundown on who he is in general. Giving up 3 earned runs through 6 innings for the most part here. But up against the A's here. This one obviously is tough to call. Don't think it's a simple fate of the A's here. Obviously, Cabrera could be in for a start where he's given up 4 or 5 walks, and the A's are actually putting up some runs here. So not saying this is the day for the A's to get it done, but it would not shock me if the A's get their 13th win of the season here today, or at the very least, even keeping this one close. I mean, even I'm not much of a +1.5 guy, but fairly reasonable odds. But obviously it's the A's, so obviously I'm not giving you anything that you're jumping for joy for here. But I don't think it's as simple as the Marlins cruising to victory here at home against the A's, as not quite even minus 200 favorites here at home against a guy in Fujinami that does not have any good numbers, is not very well could only go in an inning or two here. So I'm going to lean towards the A's. As crazy it might sound, I am going to lean towards the Oakland A's tonight. Moving on down the line, Flaherty and Contreras, Roansy Contreras for the Cardinals and Pirates. These two in this matchup, Flaherty's been significantly better at his last three if you've been paying attention. Not quite. Some of it's been, just escaping some danger a little more than he was earlier. He's still allowing base runners. Last time out, 7 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk last time out. So he did still allow 7 hits, but it is at least a lot more solid pitches to get out of some innings here. Contreras, they actually put him out of the bullpen last time out after a handful of starts to actually be in the rotation. Last time out of the bullpen, couple innings of solid work. Now he's getting back into the starting role here, so not sure what to expect there. This one is kind of tough to judge because you have a Pirates team at home, 28-27, St. Louis 25-32. I just don't know what the perception of these teams is right now because you have Flaherty, who's been good the last couple. Pirates obviously regressing a bit with no pitcher that's really making anybody jump out of their seat here. So I can't honestly tell if this is a Cardinals number here because it's pretty reasonable to get into the Cardinals, or if this is too good to be true for the Pirates at home here. I'm honestly leaning towards the Cardinals a little bit, but it really would not shock me if I'm on the side of believing too much in the Cardinals and just seeing the Pirates as the team with the better record. I know they're going opposite ways here. And Flaherty's been a lot better. So I'm a little torn on this one. I could see it both ways. If you wanted to argue that this is too good to be true for the Pirates at home with +125, I hear you. If you think this is too good to be true for the Cardinals, who are playing a lot better, -140, 142, I can hear that as well. I'm going to lean towards – I honestly have been going back and forth on this one all day. So I'm going to just leave that one on the desk, and I'll lean towards the Pirates at plus money at home for some Flaherty regression, but – you could see Roansy Contreras getting beat up for 5-6 here at first few innings. Would not surprise me at all there. So, Phillies and the Washington Nationals. If you didn't see it, Wheeler was very good last time out. 8 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, and 12 Ks. His best start of the season by far. Up against John Gray here, who actually has also been very good. Probably I'm sorry, this is John Gray's later in the show. This is Jonas Gray, Washington Nationals, so I'm mixing my Jay Grays up here. But anyways, Gray has not been bad at all. He's been solid. Walk's still an issue for him. Still issuing about 3+ walks per start here. His numbers outside of that have been pretty solid, though. He is limiting runners for the most part here. His ERA is actually not too bad, 2.77. 4-5 record on the Washington Nationals as a pitcher probably isn't too bad, all things considered there. But we've got the Phillies -190, not quite plus money on the run line there. So this one is kind of tough. The Phillies, after losing 4 in a row, they need another really good Wheeler start. I'm kind of leaning towards that way. Washington, on the other hand, just put up 10 runs 2 days ago after 3 straight losses. So this is another one that I'm kind of torn on. I want to lean towards Wheeler having another hot start and being the reason the Phillies win, but I could see the Phillies win in a 1-run game, and there's really no good way to get into this one, honestly. It is a total of 9, so it makes me believe that there are going to be maybe a few more runs than I'm willing to believe here. So I'm just torn on this one altogether. I don't know what to say with this one. I'll lean towards the Phillies by 1. Honestly, a 5-4 game finishing right on that 9 total. That's where I'm leaning with that one. Rays and Red Sox, you got Tyler Glasnow and Garrett Whitlock. Glasnow start number 2. This one is a fun one, but it is still tough to judge. I don't like pitchers that are still getting started in their season. This is only start number 2 for Glasnow. 4 1/3 inning last time out. 5 hits, 3 earned run, 1 walk, 8 Ks in that 4 1/3. All of his runs allowed, though, was a Max Muncy solo homer, a Max Muncy RBI double, and then in that same inning where he doubles, Max Muncy scores on a wild pitch by Glasnow. So there's no Max Muncy tonight. Would be the silver lining there for Glasnow, who was the sole contributor to all of those runs there. But at the end of the day, you don't know after 4 1/3 inning there. You don't know how long he's going to go. Probably going to go a little bit longer than a little bit longer than that, but maybe not even. Not quite 100 pitches, so probably still 5-6 innings, depending on where he's at there. Whitlock, on the other hand, this is only his 4th start. Last time out was solid after a couple shaky out of the first 3. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run last time out. I think it was a solo homer. So honestly, I'm going to lean towards. I really like Glasnow in this area. I'm going to lean towards Glasnow, but again, I don't like getting into starts with pitchers that are still trying to get their feet wet for the most part here. These two teams have been regressing a little bit to some degree. Tampa's just lost a series to the Cubs. Offense was not firing there in Chicago this past week. Boston just loses a series to Cincinnati at home. Their offense was working, their pitching staff not so much though. So I'm honestly I like Glasnow, but at the end of the day, it would not surprise me at all. Garrett Whitlock is pretty under the radar. I know Jeff Dawson loved him last year out of the bullpen. So it does seem a little too good to be true for Glasnow here, but it really wouldn't surprise me what happened in this one. But I will lean towards the Red Sox. Apologize, I don't have any stronger feelings on anything, but you got to feel everything out and take everything and use whatever information that makes you feel good about this stuff here. So Toronto and the New York Mets is the next one up. Both teams 30-27. Bassett and Justin Verlander there. Let's see. Bassett, not so great as last time out. Very bad. Actually, both these guys very bad last time out. 4 innings for Bassett, 9 hits, 7 earned runs against Minnesota. Verlander, 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs at Colorado. So both these guys getting beat up in their last time out. Verlander had been showing some good starts. It mixed in with his, also trying to get his feet wet for the most part here. The Mets have won 3 in a row, just swept Philly at home. Offense still treading the wheels a little bit there. 2-0 win, 4-1 and 4-2. So their pitching staff was really good there. Toronto just won 3 out of 4. Took 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee. They're playing pretty solid right now after that series there. So honestly, this is a tough one to call. I am going to lean towards the Blue Jays here. This one seems a little too good to be true for Mr. Verlander there. It would not surprise me if we've got a couple bad ones in a row for him. I know it seems like that would be the easy bounce back start there. He's had a couple of rough ones this season. Obviously bounce back after the other rough one, but I could really see this Blue Jays team being a tough matchup for him. Couple guys have some nice numbers against him. George Springer, 5 for 13, so maybe that's one guy that I like to have a nice game against him there. Whereas Bassett, on the other hand, aside from that last one, he's had one really bad one to open things up and has been really solid outside of that. He is facing this is a team that he pitched for last year, only for 1 year, but is coming back to try and stop them. Obviously, little revenge there, but I'm gonna lean towards a Blue Jays getting Verlander for maybe 3-4. Nothing crazy, not as bad as the last one, but maybe 3-4 there. And Bassett actually having a good bounce back start. So I am going to lean towards a Toronto victory and a Toronto first 5 there. That is where I'm going to lean with that one. Seattle and Texas. Here is John Gray that I was talking about earlier. Luis Castillo and John Gray. Let's see. Castillo has been fantastic. 0 earned runs in each of his last 2. 6 innings, 1 hit, no earned, 2 walks, 10 Ks last time versus Pittsburgh. But John Gray, on the other hand, as I was trying to say when I was talking about Jonas Gray, John Gray has been one of the more underrated pitchers in all of baseball. He is actually putting together probably an all-star season, at least at this point. He's got 1 earned run or less in each of his last 4, 5 hits or less in each of those last 4 as well. But now you're seeing a Seattle team coming in as the favorite up against, this is 29-27 Seattle up against 35-20 Texas Rangers. I'm going to go with a little regression for Mr. Jon Gray here. Obviously, you could argue that Luis Castillo is due for some regression. Luis Castillo is more of that guy, though, as far as that ace-level pitcher, whereas Jon Gray is putting up the best numbers that he would have of his entire career. He was close to being a 4-year earned run guy last year. I don't know that there's any season aside from maybe one or two where he's been under a 4 earned run guy while he was with Colorado. So I am feeling like, and last year was with Texas, 3.96 ERA. I am feeling like we're going to get some regression from him, and I think it could start tonight here. So I am going to go a little Seattle. I think you get over a flat 4 right around plus money. That is where I'm going to go with this one. I think he's going to get beat up a little bit today, and I think Seattle's going to take this one here on the road. Back end, I guess I'm not sure about in this game. So I'm more so talking about Jon Gray regression with this one, and Seattle putting up some runs. Give me at least 4 runs from them. I'll take a first 5 win, but I'll prefer the over 4 there. Seattle 2 runs and 1 run scored in each of their last 2. Offense ready for a bounce back as well. Texas just took 2 out of 3 from the Tigers. Their offense sputtered a little bit 2 days ago, their last game. I think they could be there again tonight. So I'm going to go with a Seattle over 4, and I think they're going to win that game as well. So the other one, the matchup of the night, Angels and Astros, Ohtani and Valdez. Talked about this exact matchup between these two pitchers a few weeks back, almost a month back. May 9th, they faced each other then. Let's see. Exact matchup was on 5-9. Valdez was fantastic there. And Ohtani was iffy for a little bit of stretch. I think he gave up 3 earned runs in that game. He was iffy for a couple more after that, and he's been really good in his last 2. Not quite his dominant level, but he's been pretty good at his last 2. Valdez still been really good in his last 2. Or in general, his last 2 were against Oakland. So it's tough to judge if he's due for some regression or not. I am a big Framber Valdez guy. So sometimes it is tough. I do like the spots where it seems like he's due for a huge bounce back. That is typically the time I take some Framber Valdez action. He's got some really, aside from Taylor Ward and maybe Jared Walsh, he's got some really solid numbers against this lineup, though. Ohtani at the plate has struggled against him. Mike Trout, 2 for 16, has struggled against him. So maybe you see a little bit of a change there. I think it's a good chance that you see a really good Ohtani start. Actually, he was really good his last 2 times out. Who am I kidding? 6 innings each time, 6 hits allowed last time, but still only 2 runs and 3 walks, 10 Ks. So the strikeout rate is on its way back up. Astros minus 130. Wow, exactly minus 130 here at home with a 7.5. So I don't want to lean towards the Angels. I am going to lean towards Angels. Not quite plus money on the first 5. I guess I don't know. I'm curious. I saw a little bit of skewed public money on the Angels in this one, so that scares me off a little bit. I'm not going to be wagering on it. I could see. I do kind of like Ohtani to be really good through 5 innings, though. I could see the Angels at the very least being tied 1-1 or something like that through 5 innings. So I'm leaning towards the Angels in the first 5 there. But at the end of the day, I really like Valdez. I could absolutely see the Angels offense struggling as well. So I think this one could be low scoring, and I think this is just a pitch of matching that's worth watching again here. Both these teams, Angels, they played yesterday. Astros win 5-2. Both these teams kind of going back and forth. So if you're playing that, then it is the Angels that are due for the win here. Astros offense kind of been going back and forth a little bit. 2 runs on Wednesday against Minnesota, then 5 yesterday. So I'm going to lean towards Ohtani and the Angels in the first 5 is where I'm leaning, but it's not going to be a play I'm making. I think it's going to be really close. I think these 2 pitchers are pretty tough, pretty damn tough to call there. So let's see. Only a few more left. Colorado and Kansas City. Actually, this one, I was about to skip over this one, but this is one that I was kind of interested in. You've got Anderson. I think it's Chase Anderson for Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. and Jordan Lyles for the Chase Anderson for the Rockies. Jordan Lyles for the Royals. And as far as Chase Anderson, he's been solid this year, but historically very, very bad. He's already on his second team of the season. And historically, he's a 35-year-old who has been on a handful of teams. He did spend 4 years in Milwaukee, but he's been on 5 teams in the last 4 seasons. Yeah, 2022, 6.38 ERA, 21, 6.75, 2020, 7.22. So now we're in 2023 after being previously with Tampa Bay pitching out of the bullpen a couple times. He's gone 5 innings at least 5 innings in 3 straight. 0 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 1 earned run. Now we're facing Kansas City, who obviously is a dumpster fire, kind of being overshadowed dumpster fire by the Oakland A's, but they are very, very bad. They did just split with the Cardinals. Their offense has been a little bit better lately, not terrible. But you've got Jordan Lyles on the mound, 0-9 record, and the other part about it, 4 earned runs or more in all 5 starts here in May, or this past May here. And like I said, not only an 0-9 record, he's had 11 starts, and the Kansas City Royals have not won a single one of them. You're pulling this game up, and the Royals, they are the home team, but 24-34 Rockies playing a little bit better. Kansas City Royals still the minus 125 favorite. So I am going to be leaning on the Royals to A, have a better Jordan Lyles start finally, and B, especially an ugly Chase Anderson start there. Over 4.5 at minus 115, minus 120. I'm not trying to pay the tax on that one. But I do think they're going to go over that. And as tough of a pill as it swallow, if you find over a flat 5 at plus money, I think the Royals get to at least 5 runs tonight. I would not be shocked at all. Colorado has been losing, so you could argue that they're due for a little bit of a bounce back. They just lost 4 in a row at home. But as I mentioned, Kansas City's offense, obviously only 1 run the other day. But a 7-0 win earlier in the week, 3-2, 10-12 loss against Washington over the weekend. So offense picking up a little bit, obviously still very bad, but at least buyer beware on the Rockies, if anything else. If you don't want to bet on the Royals on a Friday night, you don't want to have to watch that game, I understand. That is the antithesis, the opposite completely of the Ohtani Valdez starting matchup, Chase Anderson versus Jordan Lyles there. So can understand if you don't want to get involved in that, but there's probably going to be some runs in that one, and I think especially on the Royals side of thing there. So Cleveland and the Twins, I'm going to skip over for the most part there. Solid matchup, important matchup for the AL Central. However, Aaron Civale, start number 3 for him. His first 2 were both against Seattle, 1 good, 1 bad. Ober hasn't been bad. He hasn't really had any ugly starts, so I kind of would lean on Ober being due for a really ugly one. But at the end of the day, Civale's a guy that I will feel much better about after he's got 10, 12 starts under his belt, and you can kind of see where he's due for bounce backs and due for regression there. So I'm going to stay far away from this one. I will lean towards the Cleveland Guardians because I think Bailey Ober is due for some regression. That is where my heart is leaning on this one. But at the end of the day, it would not surprise me at all if this is a down to the wire, really close game. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Civale gave up a bunch of runs. Not trying to play both sides. I will lean towards Ober regressing a little bit there. Atlanta and Arizona, another good matchup here. Don't have strong thoughts here. Morton versus Kelly. Morton last time out, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 2 earned, 4 walks, 9 Ks. Only 2 earned, but 11 base runners allowed there. Kelly, 6 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned, 2 walks, 10 Ks his last time out. So I am this one is a tough one to call. You've got 2 teams. Arizona actually 34-23, a half game better than Atlanta there. 1 more win in the win column there. But this one is a goofy one. It's a tough one to call. It seems like a lot of people are flocking to Merrill Kelly here. I would feel good about Charlie Morton regressing, but the fact that Merrill Kelly's not getting the clear-cut favorite sign here is a little concerning to me. Arizona's won a handful of games in a row as well, so I'm gonna lean towards old Ground Chuck being much better than Ground Chuck and actually having a nice performance here, limiting those base runners maybe and keeping the score down, and maybe next time out we're due for an ugly Charlie start. So I'm gonna lean towards Atlanta tonight with Charlie Morton on the mound. Another interesting one here, probably won't get involved, but James Taillon, I might get involved in this one. This is a interesting one. Cubs and San Diego Padres. Jameson Taillon versus Michael Wacha. I've talked about the Cubs pitchers and a lot of them. Me feeling strongly that some of them are due for some regression. Taillon is the exact opposite. I am staying away from it just because he had spent some time in the IL, still not looking like himself. So I'm worried that he's going to be going back on the IL here soon. Has not finished 5 innings since April 15th. Again, he did miss a couple starts at the end of April, but he still had a few starts under his belt since coming off of that. And again, has not finished 5 innings since April 15th of this year. So, and like I said, that includes 5 more starts after that time, and has failed to get 4 2/3 a couple times is the longest he's gone. 3-4 innings allowed in all these starts pretty consistently here. The Cubs actually have not won a single one of his starts. He is 0-3 technically, but they are 0-8 whenever he's taken the bump. Michael Wacha, on the other hand, he's had a handful of really good starts. He was very good in May. Maybe one of the pitchers, best pitchers of May. .84 ERA, only 3 earned runs allowed in 32 innings there. Going at least 6 in all these games. 2 earned runs last time out was his worst start of the month. 4 Ks, so strikeout rate, aside from one strikeout day, 11 strikeout day against the Royals, his strikeout's not too high, a little sporadic there. So I don't know if I want to lean on the Cubs and Taillon to bounce back with Wacha regressing or not. Again, I am staying away from it because Jameson Taillon could just have something just straight up wrong with him. San Diego just won 2 out of 3. Offense and that 9 runs, 1 run, 10 runs. So offense starting to show a little life there. Need their pitching staff to be better. So I guess I actually could be leaning towards the over in this one. But I honestly, I think maybe even a Cubs over, you might have to get a flat 4 to get round plus money. But I think the Cubs will put up some runs today. That's where I'm leaning with this one. And then 2 more, and I'm not really I'll skip over Yankees and Dodgers because Severino's still getting rolling here in the season. He's been good through 2, so not really sure what to expect there. Obviously a good matchup, Yankees and Dodgers. And then Baltimore and San Francisco is the last one there. Kramer versus Webb. Webb, honestly, Giants are around 500, so kind of quiet, but Webb has been fantastic, especially in May. 5 earned runs over 34 2/3 innings pitched in May. Probably the team MVP to this point. And Kramer has been a lot better this month. 3 earned runs last time out, however. So they're kind of making you pay a tax here for old Logan Webb. But against this 35-21 Baltimore team, that is a definite fan favorite. I can understand. I can see that maybe this is a good spot for San Francisco to take care of business. Pardon me. This is a tough one to judge, though, because you've obviously got a guy in Logan Webb that people are starting to wake up a little bit here, too. So I don't know what to expect out of this one. I could see I'm kind of leaning towards just a solid pitchers duel, and I'm going to go under 7.5, 8. Maybe buy the hook and get the 8. But I'm going to go under 8 in this one is where I'm leaning. So I know I was a little wishy-washy on the first handful, but a little bit of good meat on the bones there in the middle there with some of these evening games. Actually, the only one that I missed, and I don't have strong thoughts on it because the Tigers pitcher is making his debut. Go figure, I skipped over it again. The White Sox hosting the Tigers. But as I mentioned, Olsen making his major league debut, and you've got Clevenger coming back, who's really anybody's guess of what he's going to do. He's been anywhere from 0 to 6 earned runs, and it's kind of just a steady flow of rise and fall there. So pencil him in for 3-4 earned runs. Who knows? And I have no idea what to expect from Olsen in the White Sox offense. So staying far away from that one tonight. I advise you to do the same. Brewers up 2-0 early on Cincinnati there, so maybe I was wrong with my lean towards Cincinnati, but I did say it is a little too early, and I'm staying away from it there. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get on out of here. I hope everyone enjoys their evening with some baseball action or potentially anything else that you got going on. Didn't get a chance to talk too much golf. Day 2 still going on here. Hideki Matsuyama coming out of the clouds with an awesome day today. 7 under to be 7 under total for second place there. Patrick Cantlay lurking in the weeds. as well as Rory McIlroy. So this one could be a really fun weekend. Maybe we'll have some talk on it over the weekend. But without further ado, best of luck on baseball tonight. Best of luck on the NHL Stanley Cup tomorrow night. And best of luck if I don't see you on both the Memorial Tournament and Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Thank you all for stopping by this week. I apologize. I missed Wednesday. I had about 48-hour dark period with no internet, so that was fun. But nonetheless, we are back and ready to rock. So thank you all. Have a very good weekend. Thank you, Connor, for stopping by and helping us out with the audio issues. We got it rocking and rolling. So until next time, and obviously stay tuned to see if you got anything going on this weekend. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice day.